Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we killed off a bunch of Dark Eldar and got a little peek into how their society works with finding a captured Dark Eldar homunculus, and then I shot him in the face because he was like, hey, set me free, I will attack these guys that you've already crippled. And me playing this as a Puritan was like, no. Now we have to talk to Captain Van Winter.
Inquisitor, you have an urgent message from the Caligari Conclave.
It's been a while. I was starting to wonder if they'd forgotten about me.
Inquisitor, the Conclave is requesting your assistance in an urgent matter. We have lost contact with the sacred archives of the Ranielli Navigator House. They are our first and foremost source of information in the sector about warp surges, shipping routes, and star systems. Reports indicate that their headquarters was struck by an ambush by Chaos forces. The data vaults of their headquarters store confidential information that cannot be allowed to get into wrong hands. The Ranielli House asked us to intervene on their behalf. We need you to find out what happened there and secure the archives by any means necessary.
Hey, we're back to fighting chaos, I guess.
This looks really bad, Inquisitor. The whole archives fell silent. We don't hear any Vox chatter, and there was no attempt to contact us.
Presumably there are no survivors. The vault could be intact, though.
Let's hope so. The Raniellis are the most influential house amongst the Navigator clans in the sector, mostly due to their vast collection of navigational maps and secrets.
I'm heading to the data vault. I suppose I'll soon find out which traitorous mongrel wanted these secrets so badly.
So, I haven't had any news about 40K lately. I haven't seen anything really to talk about. Nobody's been doing anything big, and there's no announcements yet. I bet, like 2 days after I post this, something will pop up. I did see a cool army, part of an army, online. The Jacaro, they're like, for people who don't know, they're technologically advanced monkeys with like cybernetic implants and stuff. And someone made an army based on the Jacaro, which I thought was a neat little thing. And they had, probably, I would say the coolest part had to be the fact that the army included
eradicated,
like a Titan, but instead of it being a Titan, it was a giant monkey with Titan weapons on it. Or well, it'd be more of an Imperial Knight, because the weapon was something a knight would use. But it was just this giant, somewhat armored monkey. Like Dragon Ball Z, when Saiyans would freak out and turn into monkeys in the moon. That's pretty much it. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. You know, a neat little bit that, once again, I said it before, I wish we would get more armies, because a full Jacaro army or Jokero army would be awesome. Plus, the obvious return to monkey memes. But it's like, who doesn't want that? That'd be so cool.
Inquisitor, your timing is impeccable, and quite unfortunate.
You have made a mistake by this incursion, traitorous scum. All you can find here is a swift death.
Appreciate the irony of this situation, lapdog of the false emperor. You have stumbled upon something that doesn't concern your precious Imperium at all.
Your intrusion here alone would justify my presence here.
I find your lack of curiosity distressing, but not surprising. Die then!
Sounding like Discount Bane. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna keep backpedaling.
Target in sight.
Ah, he ate the hit. I was hoping that snipe would have put him away, but oh well.
New log entry. So the word bearers are ransacking the archives of the most influential navigator house in the sector. Considering that these traitors are always on the hunt for secret knowledge, this is clearly beyond a simple raid. Let's find out what this is.
Yeah, I would just really enjoy, I keep saying it, just more factions, even more sub-factions. But I get, you know, supply line wise, needing to get new molds and all that, and if you're gonna playtest stuff.
By the Emperor, we have been saved.
What a disgrace. How dare you flee from battle? You are a craven, not worthy to the uniform.
Inquisitor, we are begging for your mercy. We are simple soldiers, and when we saw those abominations laughing and killing everyone, taunting us, we couldn't face them anymore.
And you get to go die a or you should have died a glorious death, Commander. Now you'll perish like a coward. Bam.
For all of you. Now follow me and stand your ground as a true soldier of the Imperium.
Last time I did this, I just did the heretic thing. If I knew it was just blap one dude, I wouldn't have cared. One interesting bit of news, though, is by the time this goes up, actually just after, like the day after this goes up, I believe, the new Total War Warhammer DLC will come out, which adds Throt the Unclean, which I think is really cool because Throt is a very interesting character, and you get to mutate all your Skaven. I watched a bit of gameplay. Nobody... I don't know if it's because of the embargo or if people just didn't want to look at it, but the mutation list, one of them allows you to turn your Skaven... At least they get the template for undead. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting template to give guys. I wonder... Like, I know what that entails, because that will give you... I think immunity to psychology and I think immunity to poison and then vulnerability to fire, I think. Which, honestly, immunity to psychology for Skaven? I mean, right there, you've just defeated their greatest enemy themselves. So I'd say that's a pretty good trade-off there. But that was, I think, like the last page. It'd be cool, you make like an entire army of Skaven, and they're, or like an entire stack, and they're all classified as undead. I would create a zombie Skaven stack. That would be a really interesting thing. Makes me wish for like a 40K version of Total War, but I don't know how you could reliably create that. Because do you make it just one planet? Then that's... It takes away kind of the grand scale that 40K has. Do you make it, you know, do you make it multiple systems and every, like, 3 planets or however many planets are in a system, that becomes, like, one region? And then you expand it that direction? I mean, either or works. It's just, how do you do it? I think having space be part of it and be far bigger, it starts to muscle into, like, Battlefleet Gothic Armada territory, but it also does make more sense. Plus, it's easier than to introduce factions, you know. Oh, we're gonna have, you know... I'm just trying to think of...
Whatever you are trying to achieve here, traitor, it is over.
What a shame, Inquisitor. Sadly, you will not believe me. But with this folio, I will not only bring justice to those who deserve it, but I will aid your pitiful cause. In a way.
Lies and empty promises. That's all your kind can offer.
Pity. You, of all humans, should understand our cause. This is about vengeance and blood. Concepts you and your despot ruler must be familiar with.
I've had enough of your blasphemy. Perish!
For the Emperor!
But, trying to introduce, like, Necron Lords. That would be the easiest way to introduce them. Be like, oh yeah, we found another group of planets. It's a Necron starting planet, or starting area. Boom, done. You can introduce literally minor factions anywhere. Space Marines, you can just rattle off a name, you know. Oh, it's a group of these guys, or those guys. It's a detachment of this group of Imperial Guard, or this tiny group of Dark Eldar. It makes things super easy. It would be fun. I'd play that. I just think the problem becomes, unlike Warhammer Fantasy, where, you know, everybody's on the same planet, it's kind of weird if you suddenly were like, yep, in this cluster of space, we have, you know, Fulgrim, Fabius Bile, Mortarion, Perturabo, like, Vulcan, Lionel Johnson, Reboot Gilliman, you know, Belisarius Call, Ursacur Creed, you know, all these people just, like, chilling in this one space at one point. You know, you'd look at that and be like, why is everybody here? So you'd have to kind of BS it and be like, oh, here's new Imperial Lord What's-His-Nuts. You should totally care about him. Please spend money on our DLC. And, you know, you really can't. You can't really justify... Like, you can justify it to people, be like, hey, you like this faction, buy this faction. But Lords, you can't be like, hey, buy this random jack-off you don't know and have no, like, knowledge of or tie to.
Reloading.
And therein lies, you know, the biggest problem is that, yeah, you, like I said, you could bullshit it. You could be like, yeah, everybody's just here, it's a big party, this is super special strategic importance. If you're willing to have that suspension of disbelief.
I have found a warp folio at the leader of these abominations, a collection of navigational charts and warp routes leading to an unfamiliar system in the Agartha subsector.
It doesn't sound like the terrible and ancient secret you expected.
Do you know anything about a certain Gualod system, Captain?
I have never heard about it, and trust me, I know that subsector. I will have the tech priest execute a litany of information retrieval.
You do that, Captain.
Inquisitor, the Argus scans show that the remaining hostiles are fleeing towards the teleportarium, probably with more stolen valuables.
I'm on my way. Thanks.
You must stop them before they initiate the teleport sequence.
I will say though, what would be cool is you could then, if they were to do it, they could introduce Chaos factions who use more renegades or renegade groups that get Chaos assistance or don't get Chaos units. Dark Mechanicus. You could do a lot. In terms of just like selling factions, that has a ton of potential. It just becomes a matter of, will people buy it? I don't know. You know, I'd like for people to buy it, because then the game would get support, but, you know, people are going to do what they're going to do.
Loading.
Oh, that's a Hellbrute.
Loading.
Let's not try to engage that. Or if we do try to engage that, let's do it smart. Alright, can we just snipe him out and see how much that deals? Okay, that did a decent amount. Not, you know, crazy damage, but I'm able to body him somewhat reliably.
Ready to fight.
Losing my damage over times heal me kinda sucks, but I'm also not losing too much, and getting instant cooldown headshots is kinda neat. No, I have to tweak this build more and level up a bunch.
Inquisitor, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation with the captain. I must strongly warn you to avoid the Gualod system.
And what do you know about that system, Captain?
I am a Stormwater Space Marine. We are the protectors of the sector, and we are aware of all the forbidden places. The darkest corners of the void. No one should enter.
And the one.
I strongly advise you to forget you ever heard that name.
And in the I strongly advise you to tell me what I should do.
At your command.
Eradicated.
For the Emperor!
Well, looks like two guys might be getting out of this alive. Everybody else got flattened.
You are late, pitiful mortal, as always.
We'll see about that, abomination.
I love how at this point it's like, oh, we're not even gonna have much dialogue. We're just gonna show up, have them each talk a little bit of shit, and then we're just gonna go back to shooting. Like, we've wasted enough of your time. And that Psyker Commander's dead. Cool.
Pain is salvation. Pain is salvation.
I don't think any of that's going to be useful in the end. Unfortunately, none of this gear.
Target eliminated.
Now that I think about it, that's an issue I've had with a lot of 40K games, is they don't, like, the RTS games don't do, like, justice for the amount of cultists you should be running in most cases. I mean, you look at this, the Word Bearers. I've fought more Renegade Guardsmen than I have actual Word Bearers. And that's how they would operate, you know. Why would you run the risk of losing Marines that you would then have to buy off Fulgrim?
Escapes the Emperor's wrath.
Why would you waste Marines you get a, you know, clone from Fulgrim and pay him when you can just get a bunch of idiots you can convert to your side? Yeah, they're not that effective, but you got the numbers for them. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.